Welcome once again, gentle folks, to another video for your Italian Serie A. I hope you had a wonderful game week last week, and for this week I'll be sharing with you as usual my game predictions and the betting tips for each and every game of this for this particular game week. And so therefore I'm wishing you happy betting and wishing you best of luck. And this week we're going to start on a Friday, and we're going to start with Juventus versus Empoli. Alright, let's head straight into it. Juventus versus Empoli here. And for this game, I'm expecting Juventus to win. Both teams to score, I'm going to say no. In terms of combination bet, I'll go with either team to win and both not to score. Predicted scoreline for me, I'm going to take Juventus to win this one 2-0. In terms of the handicap system, I'll go with Juventus to win this one by a goal. $2.15, those are really nice odds, alright? So recapping predictions for Juventus versus Empoli, I'm expecting Juventus to win. In terms of both teams scoring, I'm going to say no. Combination bet, either to win and both not to score. Predicted scoreline 2-0 in favor of Juventus. And on the handicap system, I'm taking Juventus to win this one by a goal. Alright, so those are my predictions for Juventus versus Empoli. And now we're going to move on over to our next set of games, which is Salernitana versus Spezia. Salernitana versus Spezia. For this game, I'm expecting this one to be closely contested contest, and but I'm going to take Salernitana to come out on top here. In terms of both team score, I'm going to say yes. In terms of combination bet, I'll go with either to win and both to score. Predicted scoreline for me in this particular game, I'm going to say here, I'm going to take Salernitana to win this one 2-1. And in terms of a combination bet, I would go ahead and I'm going to take here Fiorentina win by a goal, but we're going to take a draw based on my predicted scoreline. Alright, so recapping predictions for Salernitana versus Spezia, I'm expecting Salernitana to win, expecting both teams to score as well. In terms of a combination bet, I'd say either to win and both to score. In terms of scoreline, I'm going to take 2-1 in favor of Salernitana, and in terms of the handicap system, I'm going to take a draw here based on my predicted scoreline. Alright, and so those were the predictions for Salernitana versus Spezia. And our next game for this game week is AC Milan versus Monza. AC Milan being at home here, so AC Milan versus Monza. Expecting AC Milan to take care of business here. Both teams to score, I'm going to say no. So AC Milan should keep a clean sheet here. In terms of a combination, I go either to win and both not to score. Predicted scoreline for me, I'm saying here AC Milan to win this one 2-0. Alright. In terms of the handicap system, I go with AC Milan to win this one by a goal. Alright. So predictions again for AC Milan versus Monza. I'm expecting AC Milan to win. Expecting both teams not to score. In terms of a combination, I'd say either to win and both not to score. Predicted scoreline, I'm saying 2-0 here in favor of AC Milan. In terms of the handicap system, I'm going to go here with AC Milan to win this one by a goal. Alright, so those are my predictions for the AC Milan versus Monza game. And we'll move right along to our next game. And our next game is Fiorentina versus Inter Milan. Alright, Fiorentina versus Inter Milan. This one should be an interesting matchup, I do believe. And on the form that Fiorentina is in, this game could end in a draw. And so therefore, this should be an interesting contest. Alright, I do believe this should be an interesting contest. I'm going to take both teams to score. In terms of a combination bet, I'll go with either to win and both to score. In terms of predicted scoreline, I'm going to come here and I'm going to favor Inter Milan, and I'm going to say here they should have a 3-1 victory. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a 2-1 victory. But I don't think it's going to be as easy as some of us might think it should be, or some of us think it might be. Alright. So in terms of handicap system, I go with Inter Milan to win this one by a goal. Otherwise, I'll take a draw here. Alright. So in terms of Fiorentina versus Inter Milan, in terms of predictions, I'm going here, and I'm going to have here both teams to score. In terms of a combination, I'll go with either to win and both to score. And predicted scoreline 3-1 in favor of Inter Milan. In terms of handicap system, I go with Inter Milan to win this one by a goal. Alright, those are my predictions for the Fiorentina versus Inter Milan game. And now we're going to skedaddle on over to our next game, and our next game is Udinese versus Torino. Udinese being at home. Udinese have been doing very well this season. I think they are in the top 5 or top 4 at the moment, and so Udinese, they have been doing well, and so therefore it should be an interesting matchup between themselves and Torino. So I'm going to give them the win here, otherwise it should end in a draw. I'm expecting both teams to score as well. In terms of a combination, I'll go with either to win or both to score. Predicted scoreline for me, I'm going to say 2-1 here in favor of Udinese. In terms of the handicap system, I go there with like the obvious, which is going to be a draw. Udinese to win by a goal, but we're going to take a draw here. Alright, so recapping predictions for Udinese versus Torino, I'm expecting Udinese to come away with a victory. In terms of both teams scoring, I'm going to say yes. In terms of a combination, I'd say either to win or both to score. Predicted scoreline 2-1 in favor of Udinese, and on the handicap system, I'm going to go with a draw here. Alright, so those are my predictions for Torino versus Udinese, or Udinese versus Torino. Udinese being a home team here, I'm expecting Udinese to take care of business. So we're moving on over to Bologna and Lecce. Alright, so Bologna versus Lecce, I'm expecting this one to be keenly contested contest, and but Bologna, based on a lot of averages, they're expected to come away with a victory in my book, that is, and so I wouldn't be surprised if they win. So I'm going to give Bologna the win here. In terms of both teams scoring, I'm going to say yes. In terms of a combination bet, I'll go with either to win and both to score. Predicted scoreline for me, I'm going to say here 2-1 in favor of Bologna. Otherwise, this game might end in a draw. And the handicap system, you go with the obvious, as I say here. Bologna to win by a goal, but based on the scoreline, you're going to take a draw here. Alright, so recapping predictions for Bologna versus Lecce, I'm expecting Bologna to win, both teams to score as well. In terms of a combination, I'd say either team to win and both to score. In terms of a scoreline, I'm saying 2-1 here for Bologna. In terms of the handicap system, I go with a draw here based on my prediction. Alright, so predicted scoreline, that is. And so those were the predictions for Bologna versus Lecce. Alright, so move on to the next game. The next game is Atalanta versus Lazio. Atalanta versus Lazio. And for this game now, Atalanta versus Lazio, I'm expecting here, I'm expecting this one to be an interesting matchup, somewhat interesting matchup. I'm going to give Atalanta the victory here. I give Atalanta the victory. I'm expecting Atalanta to win. Alright, I'm expecting Atalanta to win this one. And in terms of combination bet, you go with the obvious, which is either to win and both to score. Alright, so Atalanta to win, expecting both to score as well, and take that as well. On the scoreline side of the business, I'm going to say here Atalanta winning this one 2-1. I do believe otherwise it might be 3-1. I'm going with Atalanta to win 2-1. In terms of the handicap system, I'm going to come here, Atalanta to win by a goal, but as I said, based on my predicted scoreline, I'm going to take this one to be a draw. Alright, so recapping predictions for Atalanta versus Lazio. I'm expecting Atalanta to win here. In terms of a combination, I'll go with either team to win and both to score. Predicted in terms of, I also have both teams to score as well. In terms of predicted scoreline, I'm going to say 2-1 in favor of Atalanta. On the handicap system, we're going to go with a draw based on my predicted scoreline. Alright, so those are the predictions for Atalanta versus Lazio. I almost said AC Milan there. Okay then, so let's move to our next game, and our next game is Roma versus Napoli, and this should be an interesting matchup. Based on how Jose usually sets up his teams, this should be an interesting matchup, yeah. And so therefore now, Roma versus Napoli. This one is going to be an interesting one, but I'm going to see Napoli to go ahead. I'm going to expecting Napoli to take care of business, but I wouldn't be surprised if it ends in a draw. based on Mourinho's history and Mourinho's team's history, that is. So Napoli to win, both teams to score. In terms of a combination, you go with either to win and both to score. Predicted scoreline, I'm saying 3-1 here in favor of Napoli. Otherwise, it might be 3-2 based on what has happened in the past with some of Roma's games. A lot of goals, but they tend to come out on the losing side in terms of the big scoring games against these bigger teams. All right. So in terms of handicap system, we go ahead and I'll take Napoli to win this one by a goal as well. All right. So recapping predictions for Roma versus Napoli, I'm expecting Napoli to win. In terms of both teams to win, I'm saying yes. In terms of a combination bet, I go with either to win and both to score. Predicted scoreline 3-1 in favor of Napoli. On the handicap system, I'm going with Napoli here to win this one by a goal. Alright, so those are my predictions for the particular game. And so we're going to skedaddle on over to our next game, which is Cremonese versus Sampdoria. Alright, Cremonese versus Sampdoria. Cremonese being at home here. I'm going to give Cremonese the go ahead to take the win here. Cremonese to take the win, otherwise this game might end in a draw. Both teams scoring, I'm going to see yes, both teams should score, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. So both teams, in terms of combination, I would say either to win and both not to score, and either to win and both to score. I should say, sorry about that. In terms of correct score line, I'm looking here, I'm going to say here, I'm expecting Cremonese to win this one 2-1. In terms of a handicap system, you go ahead and I'll take a draw here based on my predicted scoreline. Okay, so recapping predictions for Cremonese versus Sampdoria, I'm expecting Cremonese to win this one, both teams to score. In terms of a combination, I'd say either to win and both to score. Predicted scoreline 2-1 in favor of Cremonese. And on the handicap system, I'll go ahead and take a draw based on my predicted scoreline. Alright, so our next game, which is our final game for this game week, is Sassuolo versus Verona. Sassuolo versus Hellas Verona. Alright, so for this particular game now, Sassuolo usually a team that does well at home, but they haven't been having the best season. And so as a result here, I'm expecting both teams to score. In terms of a combination bet, I'll say either to win and both to score. In terms of predicted scoreline, I'm going to go here with a 3-1 victory for Sassuolo. Otherwise, I think this game might end in a draw based on how both teams have been playing, to be honest with you. In terms of handicap system, we go with two options here. Sassuolo to win by a goal, I would take a draw. Alright, because as I said, it's a strong possibility that this game might end 2-1 in favor of Sassuolo, as well as maybe 2-1 in favor of Verona, or maybe might have less goals than that. Alright, so recapping predictions for Sassuolo versus Hellas Verona, I'm expecting both teams to score. In terms of a combination, I'll go with either to win and both to score. Predicted scoreline 3-1 in favor of Verona, Sassuolo. And on the handicap system, I'm going to go ahead and take a draw. Alright, so those are my predictions for the Sassuolo versus Verona game, and those are all my predictions for this week for your Serie A games. And so therefore, I hope you enjoyed the video. As I said, click the subscription bell and the notification bell as well, and share with your friends on your social media pages and get more persons coming here to view these content. I hope you made your notes as well, and I wish you happy betting and best of luck for this weekend. Thank you again.